I call to order the Adrian City Commission meeting for November 1st, 2021. If everyone would please rise for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Heath,
Present.
Commissioner Halt,
Present.
Commissioner Roberts,
Present.
Commissioner Watson,
Present.
Commissioner Strayer,
Present.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Present.
Commissioner Gauss,
Present.
all commission members present.
At this time, we're going to have a proclamation, and I would ask that Commissioner Watson and any friends and family that would like to join him go to one side, and all of my fellow commissioners come to the other side so that we can present him with a proclamation. Okay, come a little closer. I don't bite. Well, I don't bite hard. I'm just kidding. So we have a proclamation for you. I don't know if you can hear me. Hopefully you can. This is from all of the commission and myself and all of city government, because we're so thankful for everything you've done for us. Whereas Bradley N. Watson was elected to the Adrian City Commission in November of 2017. And whereas Brad has served on the commission with honesty, civility, and integrity, representing the citizens of Adrian and their best interests. And whereas during his time on the commission, city staffing and services were restored to levels not seen since the Great Recession. And whereas Commissioner Watson has been an advocate for community parks and recreation, and during his term, a new dog park, splash pad, and planning for the refurbishment or replacement of Bone Pool have been accomplished, among other things. And whereas Commissioner Watson has been a passionate advocate for fiscal integrity and has helped oversee a city in a healthy and strong financial condition. And whereas Commissioner Watson's love for and pride in the city of Adrian has been reflected in the energy and commitment he brought to the role of city commissioner. Now, therefore, I, Angela Sword Heath, Mayor of the City of Adrian, Michigan, do hereby honor Commissioner Bradley N. Watson and thank him for his time on the Adrian City Commission and his commitment to our community. I don't know if we surprised you, but the commission all knew, but I don't know if they kept it a secret. I told them to.
I had no idea.
Okay. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. May I get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So move. Support.
Who is the support from? Sorry. Thank you. I have a motion from Commissioner Halt with a second from Commissioner Strayer. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Halt,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Strayer,
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss,
Yes.
Mayor Heath.
Yes.
Consent agenda approved by unanimous vote.
Moving on to our resolutions. R 21-164 is from administration. It is a resolution to confirm the appointment of Jeremiah Davies as the Parks and Recreation Director for the city of Adrian. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Support.
Are there any public comments? Are there any commissioner comments?
Mayor, Mr. Davies is here with us tonight, and I would invite him to come up and just introduce himself to you all. We're very fortunate to have him joining city staff. We interviewed a number of qualified candidates, and his qualifications and, of course, his commitment to the city stood out. And Jeremiah, if you would just say a couple words to the commission.
Good evening. Again, I'm super excited for the opportunity. Parks and recreation are such an integral part of a community's well-being and quality of life. So I'm super excited just to join the team, be part of the city of Adrian, and work to better our community and our park system. So I'm super excited. Thank you.
I have a motion from Commissioner Watson with a second from Commissioner Roberts. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Roberts. Yes. Commissioner Watson.
Yes.
Commissioner Strayer.
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry. Yes. Commissioner Gauss.
Yes.
Mayor Heath.
Yes.
Commissioner Halt.
Yes.
Resolution adopted by unanimous vote.
Resolution R 21-165 is from the Fire Department. It is a resolution to award a bid for MSA G1 SCBA and related equipment for the Adrian Fire Department. Before I ask for a motion to adopt this resolution, I'm going to ask our city administrator, Greg Elliott, for explanation on why this is on here and why we did not go with the lowest bid.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just introduce us briefly, and then Lieutenant Hollenbeck from AFD is on the Zoom feed tonight, and he can go into a little bit more detail. But as you'll recall, we're very fortunate to receive this grant. We're sort of administering it on behalf of a number of fire departments in the county. And so the selection of the appropriate apparatus was one that was made jointly with all those other fire departments. Particularly important to that was for it to be interchangeable between the departments. That was part of the grant criteria. And so with that, I'll just turn it over. If you're there, Lieutenant, if you could elaborate a little further on your selection process and why you recommended the equipment supplier that you did.
Thank you, Administrator. Thank you, Commission. This is Lieutenant Jason Hollenbeck with the Adrian Fire Department. As the Administrator said, this is a considered what is a regional grant through the AFG through FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant. We are in essentially a consortium with Morenci, Hudson, Ridgeway Township, and Dover Hudson Clayton Fire Department. And after we put out the bids, we did receive several. And as noted, the MSA bid was the actual middle of the pack bid. The reason we decided on that one is it satisfied most of our bid specifications. And as the administrator alluded to, since it is a group purchase, one of the criteria is that all SCBA or all of the equipment purchased must be from a sole provider. The other thing is, by going with MSA, that would bring to the number of fire departments within Lenawee County, the vast majority, I believe it's 15 of the 18 fire departments, would then have MSA, which allows us better interoperability, which is one of the goals of the AFG grant. So
Thank you, Lieutenant.
you're welcome.
Can we ask questions of Lieutenant?
Yes.
This is one of the few that we are asked to approve that didn't meet all the requests of the request for quotation. Like, why wouldn't a vendor be able to meet or exceed the requests or the specifications of the request?
One of the things we wanted was a single source of power. And that was one of them. One of the bids, the next lowest bid, did not meet that requirement. It actually had three different power sources, all alkaline battery operated. This one allows us to use either lithium ion or alkaline batteries if we need as a backup. It also didn't include chargers for batteries because it uses the alkaline battery only. We believe that in the end, you going with the lithium ion battery would actually result in cost savings over the life of the packs instead of having to replace alkaline batteries almost on a monthly basis. We currently use MSAs with alkaline batteries and we're constantly replacing alkaline batteries on those. So that's just
Right.
one example.
Right. So, and Lieutenant, maybe I wasn't clear on my question. Like my mind is thinking, hey, we've got 10 things that we want this bid or these 10 specs that we want to fulfill in our request for quotations. It sounds like from the memo, and you described what you just talked about in your memo about batteries, but it sounds like, hey, we're going to take the one that fulfills 8 of those 10 specs. Why didn't we have a vendor fulfill all the specs that we requested?
And to be honest, I actually, one of the issues is in the specs that I put in, we had what was called a quarter turn, the regulator that attaches to the mask. They don't actually make the quarter turn any longer. That's kind of that's what most of the departments in this grant had been used to using, and kind of wanted to stick with that. However, none of the vendors actually provide that. So that wasn't going to be met by any of the bidders. The other is with the MSA bid, they had actually upgraded their harness, the backpack, the harness that the bottle sits in. They've gone to a little bit higher quality product that didn't meet the spec. And then there was also an error in my in what I had typed in as far as an NFPA standard. I used the old 33%, which actually that's the new one, but they've upgraded that to a 35, 37. So it's actually a 35 plus 2 minus 0 capability, which refers to the amount of air left in the bottle for the low air alarm to go off. What we're currently using is under the oldest standard, which is a 25%. So now they alarm at 35 plus 2 minus 0. So that error, that's another reason that none of the bids actually met that one, because I had put an error in the bid specs.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
May I get a motion to adopt Resolution R21-165?
Move to adopt.
Support.
Are there any public comments? Are there any commissioner comments? I have a motion from Commissioner Castleberry with a second from Commissioner Gauss and Commissioner Halt. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Strayer,
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry. Yes. Commissioner Gauss,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Halt,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Resolution adopted by unanimous vote.
At this time, it is time for public comment. And just to reiterate, there is a 3-minute time limit, which you will see on the screen. And for the record, please state your name and address. We will begin our public comment in-house first. So everyone on Zoom, please wait until I open it up for anyone that wants to participate via Zoom. So at this time, we will begin.
Hello, Keen Ramos, 422 South Winter Street, homeowner, resident of Adrian. You know me by this point. So here's a few things I'd like to say. Of course, I still don't really like your consent agenda. You'll hear that from me every time. But I also want to say thank you to the mayor and the chief for attending A3's Halloween event and being there and being present. And also, I'd like to thank Mayor for helping us afterwards, staying and going above and beyond to actually help us clean up and everything. I appreciate that, and the whole group does. So thank you. Also, I like the little thing you guys had going on Saturday. Glad I got to see it. And I'm glad a couple of you were down there. And I'm also just going to announce that A3's second Friday, of course, on second Friday, we'll be indoors this month. We will also be on Zoom. So even if you don't want to be there for one reason or another, feel free to jump on Zoom. And I have some minor complaints, but nothing particularly relevant this time. Thank you.
At this time, we will open up public comment for anyone on Zoom. And the 3-minute time limit you will see on your screen, and also on Zoom, please state your name and address.
Ken Tokars, 110 South Locust. Congress is in the process of trying to pass a multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure package, and they are asking for 1%ers to pay for it. In essence, Congress is asking 1%ers to fund a system that is out of control with no checks and balances. And whether we like it or not, these costs will trickle down to the middle class. These past few weeks have been very informative, specific to the Phoenix project. And after the resolution was passed by an 8-to-1 vote, with no votes from Adrian County commissioners, things became a lot clearer. I actually called the Tecumseh and congratulated them on their impressive win. After all, Tecumseh is a community that is 1/3 the size of Adrian, and they whooped your butts for a $65 million project, took it right out of the county seat. Think about it. Things are so mismanaged at the city of Adrian that you could not even muster up 3 no votes for the Phoenix project. Here are a few nuggets that I took away from my call to Tecumseh. There actually was a meeting to discuss Adrian properties. They looked at locating the Phoenix property at Plainwave and also north of town. I'm also told that that meeting did not go very well. Maybe the economic development director was too concentrated on the DDA. In addition to this, I was told that the Tecumseh Community and Economic Development Department is comprised of 3.5 full-time equivalent employees. Think about it. A community 1/3 the size of Adrian has 3.25 more full-time employees than Adrian. This is why Adrian is not competitive and cannot retain quality people to head up these departments. The 1%ers do not want to spend money on a system that is out of control with no checks and balances. In a similar fashion, the city of Adrian is the poster child for a system out of control with no checks and balances when you waive the competitive bids, increase pension deficit while under a pension deficit reduction plan, and enter into an energy management contract that you do not fully understand. The Lenawee County Commissioners have given up on the city of Adrian.
Hearing no more public comment, are there any commissioner comments? Commissioner Halt?
I just got a couple real quick. First of all, I'd like to thank Administrator Elliott and Utilities Director Will Sadler. We had a little quick improv meeting last week in regards to some state funds that possibly could become available. We're trying to leverage those dollars to come back to Adrian, and Mr. Sadler was given a small list to compile in like a 2-day notice, and he came through with a big way. The Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey was in town on Friday, and he was presented with that same document. So I just want to say I appreciate getting the meeting. I know we're all busy, but Will coming through in such a short time frame was huge. Secondly, congratulations to Mr. Davies. Congratulations on your appointment. I think that the elected body understands the emphasis on our park system and feels that we need support. We plan to do so, at least in my 2 years, to see that department really flourish, and get the parks up to the just the level that our citizens demand. So, and lastly, Commissioner Watson, last meeting here tonight, you know, go back 4 years ago, I knew the name. Obviously the name is prevalent in the community, but I really didn't know him personally. Had our first meeting, it was a rocky one, but he reached out to me the next day, and we had a scrappy sub, and we talked it out. But the moral of this is that, you know, you become close. I've been up here for 6 years. I've been involved with the city for almost 9, but you begin, you know, friendships are developed, long-time friendships. And I'm friends with some commissioners I served with in the past, and you know, government is one of those things where we can get passionate up here, we can get loud, and we can get really just passionate about an issue from the opposite sides. And it got to the point over this last like year and a half that Commissioner Watson and myself would talk on the phone and say, you know what, we're not gonna talk on the phone. Let's just do it in public. Let's do, because we'd be on opposite side of an issue, we would debate it in public. So, and then after the meeting, because he is my neighbor, he'd come over and have sloppy joes or whatever we have for dinner. And so that's how government should work, you know, long term, is that, you know, it should never be personal. It should be strictly business. And we can all, 7 of us can disagree, but I know for myself personally, I have a lifelong friend out of the deal, and I appreciate him supporting me and calming me down on some things. If you don't know me, he has done that. I appreciated that, and I'm gonna miss him. He's always very well thought, passionate for the job, and smart. And so I'm gonna miss him. So I'll leave with that. I'm gonna miss you, but it's what's the term I'm looking for? It's not goodbye, it's see you later. Yeah. We'll keep in touch, I'm sure. So
Commissioner Strayer?
Well, Commissioner Watson, you know I'm going to miss you. Even though there were a lot of nights that we would leave a meeting and I'd be scratching my head thinking, how come there's never any gray area with Watson? Everything is black and white. You were always very definitive on how you felt about things. But even if we didn't agree, we could always have really good conversation later on about issues. So right from the get-go, I knew that I was going to enjoy working with you. I have enjoyed working with you on the commission, and but more than that, I've enjoyed becoming your friend. And that's more important to me than what we did on the commission. So I wish you the best of luck, but I guarantee you, I'm still going to call you about commission things just to bug you.
Commissioner Watson?
I prepared some comments just because I had a lot that I wanted to cover. The question has been asked, are you going to miss being a commissioner? Before answering, I want to tell everybody a story. My journey to Commissioner Watson started at the conclusion of a Boys and Girls Club of Lenawee board meeting when former Mayor Jim Berriman approached me and asked if I would be interested in running for City Commission. My immediate answer, you have the wrong Watson. Brian's the Vice Chair of the Planning Commission, has the interest in city government. And in a way that only Berriman could do, he laughed and in a convincing way said, just think about it. You'd be great. Brian needs to stay on the Planning Commission. I quickly turned to my inner circle in hopes that someone would have a compelling reason that I should not run for public office, but each person had reasons why I should. One conversation was concluded with, sometimes there are things you want to do, and sometimes there are things you should do. Bradley, this is one that you should do, and that resonated with me. So off I went to form a campaign. I needed a brand. I needed funds to create my brand, and I needed time to share my brand. With the help of Smarty Design Company, I had my brand, which included colors, a caricature, stickers, t-shirts, and ice cream sandwiches. I raised funds by asking my friends and family and was shocked by their generosity. I was hitting home runs, not singles and doubles. We were in the money. I focused on 4 key ideas: families, small businesses, education, and recreation. And here's my postcard from 4 years ago with it in print. My focus on families started early. I quickly learned how local politics worked when by casting one dissenting vote on the marijuana industry, I was outmatched by 5 votes in favor. But I did not lose focus on families. Our ordinances had to be firm and enforceable. As our commission wavered on permit numbers, I held true to minimize our licenses. Most recently, we were approached with an opportunity for Weed X. This project was a huge violation of my family focus. And by the feedback I received, many of you heard and shared my position on this. Additionally, we added personnel to our police and fire departments. Our goal was to provide our citizens with better service and a heightened level of safety. If you have a minute, I encourage you, all of our residents, to show your appreciation to these departments. They are some of the best. Small business in Adrian is vital. Over the last 4 years, we have sold numerous parcels of land ready for development. These property sales generated jobs and funds to be reinvested in our city, or the ever-present pension deficit, and to generate annual general fund tax dollars for years to come. Education has been a focus, as we have had informal partnerships with many of our educational facilities. Our student population services this community whenever approached, most recently being crossing guards for trick-or-treating, and we'll be setting up Christmas trees in Comstock Park. When approached for city projects, they step up and make things happen. Our community is ready to enhance our students' learning opportunities. In Adrian, education is more than sitting in classrooms. It's about being involved and a part of our community. Finally, recreation. The City Commission has talked about recreation ever since eliminating it. With our vote tonight, we again have a director of Parks and Recreation. This commission has taken the years of talk and put it into action. We have acres upon acres of parks. Now we have dedicated funding and personnel to put vision into action. We have a splash pad that should be ready to go in 22. And let's not forget about the very recent discussions about a swimming pool. I will continue to keep my finger on this project. Our city needs a pool. 4 campaign focuses promised, 4 campaign focuses maintained. We are a better city today than we were in November 2017. Don't be mistaken. These accomplishments were not achieved by me alone. I was simply part of multiple commissions composed of 10 different commissioners and 2 mayors that have been willing to do much heavy lifting, and a city staff that have executed their jobs at an exceptional level. I'd also like to point out a couple of commissioners in particular, Strayer and Help. When jumping into my sewer service, these 2 were always willing to talk through my thoughts or confusions with me, even if it was against their beliefs. They professionally guided me through issues and concerns without imparting their views, and were not afraid to have split decisions. And the best thing about this, that through the service, I get to call both of them friend. Adrian is lucky to have Strayer and Help representing them. So to answer the question, am I going to miss being a commissioner? Without a doubt, yes, I am. But watch out, I might be back and focused on the middle seat of this dais. Mayor Watson has a nice ring to it.
And with that, may I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Halt with a second from Commissioner Roberts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.